Zimbo, I'm back again with another album review, and today I'll be reviewing the album Transparent by Courtney Antipas. So Courtney Antipas has been in this music game for quite some time now. He has a lot of experience, he's now composed, he's now confident, and knows what he wants to do with his music. And if you listen to this album, you can really pick that out. This guy is very confident about his music. And after listening to this album for this past couple of weeks, I have to say I'm a huge fan of this album. This is a very good album. Now, before, as I was getting to the album, one thing caught my attention, and that was the artwork. Now, from what I know from Courtney, is one of those guys who releases this uplifting kind of music. But the artwork is more like leaning to the darker kind of side. Even the tones, the pictures, everything about the artwork is more leaning to the darker side. But then after listening to this album, I can say, in a way, I kind of understand the artwork, because he bears himself emotionally throughout this album. And looking at the artwork, he's like showing his scars. It's one of maybe a symbol of him bearing himself to the fans. So in a way, you kind of understand where he was coming from when he made that artwork. And this album contains 8 tracks, and the first track is titled No Too Much. Now, this is a lovely track. I love the production on this track. The instrumental is in a way suspenseful, in a way. After analyzing the artwork, the first track kind of goes in the same mood, this suspenseful kind of mood. And production is done very well. I enjoyed the production on this track. Now, basically on this track, they're just talking about how knowledge makes you a better person, how knowledge makes you make better decisions. Because even in the Bible, it says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." And on this track, Courtney is just saying, if you know what God has done for you, if you know this and this, you are more or less likely to turn away from Him. So in a personal way, I know too much. I know what's in the world. I know that these certain things, these certain actions, they come with certain consequences, and I know what the Lord has done for me. So I'm not going to turn away from the Lord. So it's one of those tricks. It just edges people. Take some time, try to understand what the Lord has done in your life. And if you do that, if you appreciate, and if you manage to notice the things that the Lord has done for you, you're definitely not going to turn away from Him. So this is a fantastic track. I enjoyed the performances. Courtney Antipas was very good on this track. Even COG, I know this guy. He's a producer, and was quite anxious to see how he would perform when it comes to the vocals, but he did quite a good job on the chorus. This, all in all, a very good track. And the second track, it's so soulful. Now, this is a fantastic track. The production of this track is just superb. I think it's one of the best tracks released in hip-hop this year. It's a fantastic track. Everything, the arrangement of the instrumental was done very well. The bass line is just one of the best. I'll just give you a couple of seconds for you to just listen to the bass line. So soulful. An amazing track. Go download the album, buy the album, listen to this track. It's a very good track. And Courtney Antipas oozed a lot of swag throughout this track. I loved his performance. It had a lot of class. And on this track, it's just highlighting the fact that I no longer concentrate on those petty issues. I'm now content. I'm now satisfied with the clean, the soulful kind of music that I'm releasing. And it's edging all those like new rappers. When you get into the industry, don't try to please people. Just be content and do what you want to do. It's just edging them. Live wise and live a very good life. So this is another very good track. And I enjoyed the remix for this track, which features ASAP. I was hoping this remix was going to be included on this album, but it's not. But you can search for it online. It's another fantastic track. Now the third track is titled Stay Up. Now on this track they went for this old school kind of arrangement, and I love the decision that they took on this track. The production is done very well. So one of those tracks which will come material, as the track goes, you just find yourself nodding, bumping yourself to the beat of the track. It's produced very well. Now this track is dedicated to all the fathers, and Courtney Antipas just edging all the fathers. You are the leaders of your family. Know that you are the leaders of your family, and the direction that your family takes is all because of you. You must be a principal. You must be a father who leads his family on the right path. You must be the first person who does the good things and lead as an example for your whole family. Just edging them. As fathers, I know we are not that celebrated, but regardless, we have to make sure that the family is protected, they feel safe, they are happy. We have to provide for them. Even things like home, we have to go there, we have to stay up so that the family can really have something. So it's our duty as fathers to take care of our families, teach them the word, teach them the right way that they should behave, that they should live in this society. This is another lovely track. The performance again by Courtney Antipas was very, very good. And it continues on that sort of motivational tip on the next track, which is Be Yourself. Now this is also another very, very powerful track, and on this track is just urging the African child, just be content with who you are. You have an identity of who you are, and if you are content and if you are proud of who you are as an African kid, you have really passed the biggest hurdle, and even if you succeed, people will respect you for who you are. And this track is more like it's in the same line as Bob Marley's lyrics when he say we have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. He's just trying to fight that mental slavery which we have to live maybe like the Europeans or maybe like the Americans, but just urging the African kid would be proud of being African, be proud of who you are. And if you do that, everything will just your life will be a bit more less stressful as you go forward, and it will be easier to be successful, because a lot of us, the biggest challenge that we face is the lack of identity. We try to find where we fit in this world, and most of us, we won't even get to find out where we fit in, and he's just urging people just be African, just be proud of how you are. So this is another very, very good track. The production again is done very, very well on this track. And the fifth track, that's where we get the track Kaden. Now this is a fantastic track, and going into this album, I'd seen a lot of people tweeting about this track. They're just talking about this because I was very much looking forward to listening to this track. I had a lot of expectations, and I have to say, after listening to this track, it definitely matched and surpassed all the expectations I had. This is a very, very good track. And like I said in the beginning, Kuti, when you finish listening to this album, you can in a way understand that the meaning behind the artwork. I think this is specifically the track that inspired that artwork, because on this track, Courtney Antipas just bears himself for everyone. He was talking about the pain that the whole family had when his wife suffered a miscarriage, and he just narrated the whole story very, 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 very well. And one thing, when I was listening to this track, I realized, Courtney Antipas was already a very, very good rapper. He was very good with his words, with his rhymes. But there was one thing that he really did not do all those other tracks. He was never really a storyteller. But on this track, he just blew that out of the way. The way he told this story is just so captivating. As you be listening to this track, at the first time, if you could know, this is one of those fairy tale kind of tracks. When the whole family is happy that when they found out that the wife is pregnant, he even told his little son, you're going to have a brother, and the whole family was just happy. But then all started going bad when they went for their scans. So when they came back, they all knew something was bad, and it was so tough for them to really discuss the issue, because it is something that's very near to the heart. So it kind of like drove a rift between him and his wife. They knew what they had to talk about, but they could not just bring themselves to talk about it because it was just too painful. The scan did not look very well. I think maybe our unborn baby has a problem. So this track is more very, very emotional, and even when it ends, it's one of those tracks, it just reminds me of those movies. A movie, everyone will be just crying. It's just so touching, it's just so emotional. This is definitely a very personal track. And in the last verse of the track, he wants on to say, Kuti, people always ask me, how do you praise, how do you trust in God when you're in a bad space, but it's just urging people, that's also the time you have to trust in God, because you don't have to trust Him when everything is going well only. But even when things are going bad, you have to put your trust in the Lord, and He will show you a way. So this is a track that will really help a lot of people that are experiencing a lot of bad times. And I believe that is, if you want to help someone who's at the deep end of life, you cannot just go to them and say, I know it will be alright, everything will be alright. That's more like noise. But if you share with them, that part of your life, that era in your life where you are at the deep end, and how you overturn that to be where you are, I think that will help the person much, much more. Because it's more like you're sharing with the pain that they feel. Everything is going to be alright. So the way you struck this track is done very, very well. This is a very, very good. If you're feeling very down, just listen to this track. It will definitely uplift you. It's one of those things that I just told this friend of mine, Kuti, if you listen to the new album, Courtney Antipas said no. I said not. Go wherever you can go, Spotify, Deezer. Just listen to the track Kaden. And it seems he loved this track, because a couple of days back, Courtney was like saying, I want to make some videos for my tracks. Which tracks should I make? And that friend of mine responded to that tweet by Courtney Antipas saying he wants the track Kaden. So it shows that's a very, very good track. He enjoyed that track. So I highly recommend this track. And he continued on that sort of, emotional, personal tip on the track I Don't Know, featuring Rusin Versal. Now this was another very, very good track. The production of this track is just very, very good. And the instrumental on this track is just my best on this whole album. just arranged. Everything about it is just done so well. It's sounding very good. And on this track, Courtney Antipas is just highlighting the fact that in life we face a lot of issues. We get into a lot of situations. Is this worth it? Should I keep on doing this or should I not? And Courtney is narrating his story. In terms of making music, he has released a couple of free EPs in this past couple of fortnights, and people have been downloading those EPs and they've been loving his music. But then when he tries to make something out of his music and try to sell the album like he did with this album, a lot of people start complaining. They start painting him as the villain. They start saying, this guy, but he's just trying to make ends meet, trying to get something out of all his work. And he's just asking, good, now I wonder sometimes, and I get to ask myself, is this worth it? Is this worth it? Music, because the people seem as if they don't want to support me. Then we also went on to talk about that issue where a lot of people say never meet your heroes, where you're saying, you get a lot. I was so conflicted, I was so confused when I found out with those people that I looked up to, those people that made me be the person I am, they were not as they portray. So it's just it got him into a situation where he's just asking himself, if those people I looked up to, so am I going to be the better person, or should I continue? Then on the second verse, Rusin verse continues on the same theme, just urging people, but even in the midst of confusion, in the midst of self-doubt, just put your trust in the Lord, for He will show you the way. So this is a fantastic track. I enjoyed this track. Like I said, the production is done very well. And the next track is titled Live for the Truth, featuring GIL. Now on this track, this is more like a straightforward track. On this track, is just urging people that not as Christians we must strive to live for the truth. We must strive to be the best version of people that we can be. As Christians, we follow Christ, we must live like Christ our Savior. So we must live a truthful life. So it's just urging people, even though I think in the world there are a lot of pressures that may force us to do otherwise, but we must strive always to live for the truth. And he delivered a very good vocal performance. I love the first verse on this track, and then GIO on the second verse. He more sounded like Eazy-E. I don't know, the way he arranged, the way he pronounced these words, it more like reminded me of the late American rapper Eazy-E. But all in all, this is another very good track. And the last track on the album is titled About That Life. Now this is more like a continuation from the track Live for the Truth, but on this track he just goes a step further, just urging those people who you must let everyone know that you're no longer living that life, you're no longer about that life. And in a way, I more like dedicate this track to new believers. They just gave their lives to the Lord. It's very hard, even though you've given your life to the Lord, you still go back to the same house, the same community, the same school, same everything. So it's quite a tough way to just change. But Courtney is just urging people, you must be strong, you must let everyone know that you are no longer about that life. You're now a changed person. So this is a very good track that can apply to each and every Christian, because in this life we live, there are a lot of challenges. Some of us slip back after making some steps forward. So but we must be proud and tell everyone that everyone knows, I'm now a new person. I now no longer do that. So those are the 8 tracks for this album. And as you have picked up, this is a very good album. I've enjoyed listening to this album. From the first track to the last track, the productions are just done superb. And I think Courtney is also a producer, and I believe he was one of the executive producers of this album, and he did a very good job. From every track just sounding very good, it's sounding very different, which is quite good, and it makes the album quite interesting to listen to. So this is a very good album. In terms of vocal performances, it was fantastic throughout the album. From the first track to the last track, Courtney delivered some very good vocal performances, and getting and even showing the emotional side when required on tracks such as Caden and I Don't Know, and being a bit playful, using a lot of swag on tracks such as So Soulful. He was just very good. Even the collaboration, the guy collaborated with COG, there's GIL, and there's Rusin Versa. All of those guys, they did very good jobs on this track. Now this is a very good album. I've enjoyed listening to this album very much, and I highly recommend it. And if you've been listening, you can see I'm a huge fan of this album, and my overall rating, I'll give this album an A. It's sounding very good, and I highly recommend it to anyone. This album definitely uplifts you. It will provide some good music that's uplifting to you, music that's very clean, that you can play even though anyone. It can just fit any moment. It's a very good album. In a way, I'd say this album kind of peeps Shakis Take Back the Land from the top spot on the best hip-hop album I've listened to this year. That's just how much I'm loving this album. Maybe it's because it's still new, so I'm more leaning to it, but regardless, it's sounding very good. And like I said, I highly recommend it. Now after this, I think there's only now one more hip-hop album that I'm very much looking forward to listen to, and that is 25 by SF. And by the time you watch this video, the album will definitely be out, and the review will be coming in the next 2 to 4 weeks. But regardless, for those who have listened to this album by Courtney Antipas, Transparent, go in the comment section, tell me your favorite track, tell me what you think about the album. Also, don't forget to like the video. See you again next time.